So what the situation with Ukraine currently reminds us of is that because of the nuclear security summit process, that problem is slightly less complicated. And what I mean by that is, of course, in 1994, Ukraine returned the arsenal that it had inherited after the dissolution of the Soviet Union, but it still had weapons-usable nuclear material, namely highly enriched uranium, that somebody with malicious intent could have used for conducting a nuclear terrorism attack. They had that material up until 2012. And the reason that they were able to get rid of that material is the Nuclear Security Summit process. At the first summit in 2010, they made a commitment to remove that material from their territory. And they followed through with it. Imagine how much more complicated the current crisis and chaos would be if we were also worried about what is happening to that material. And what is also highlighted by that example is that it required both U.S. and Russian cooperation to remove that material. The United States, through something called the Global Threat Reduction Initiative, made sure that the material was removed, and it was Russia that actually took that material into its territory. And what I hope doesn't get ignored in the current attention on Crimea and the Ukraine is that we always remember that nuclear material security is a global agenda, it is a global challenge, and it's going to require global approaches and the cooperation of multiple countries. And we need leaders to be invested. And right now is a time for leaders to be stepping up at this summit and not stepping back or stepping down. And I really hope that that's something that the Russians in particular can keep in mind, considering how much they have invested and all of the experience that they have in material security, particularly for advancing the agenda going forward. In terms of U.S.-Russian relations on the nuclear agenda, there have been far deeper crises in that relationship, particularly during the Cold War, and we have always advanced still on the arms control agenda, the non-proliferation agenda, and the material security agenda. That's not to say that there aren't necessarily challenging days ahead, but there's a reason countries engage in these activities. It's because of the benefit of their own security as well as mutual security. And our hope is that, particularly for the Russians, that they will keep that front of mind and that also other countries learn from that example.